You know, I didn't think my career or my life would take the trajectory that it has. I'm not complaining, I'm just contemplating. How's everyone doing? It's Connor. It's 1:30 p.m., 1:31 p.m. on a Sunday afternoon after Thanksgiving. And I am drinking coffee that I mixed half a packet of hot chocolate into. And it tastes... Oh, fuck, that's so good. Oh my god. Ah, fuck yes. Oh, I needed that. So, I wanted to talk about trying to make media, I know a lot of people disgrunt the phrase content creator, and I think there's good merit behind disliking it. But I can't really figure out what else to call myself because I do too many things to really call myself one thing. 25 months from Dill, thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you. Diz, welcome aboard. Let me switch the view over. Let me know if the music's too loud, too quiet. I got a new tunic that I bought because I don't own a lot of like warm colored clothes, and I think this matches my hair really nicely. I'm doing pretty well right now, actually. Got a computer fixed yesterday. Hell yeah. But I wanted to talk about content creation when people can't go outside or shouldn't go outside, and it's difficult, and people don't really seem to understand that it's difficult. And this is not me saying, like, you all don't know how hard it is. This is me saying this to other creators who don't realize that just because you make a living from home doesn't mean that it's not difficult to be stuck there. It is just about to be December 2021. And you tested today? Good. I got my booster recently, which I'm happy about. I'll probably need to get another one, though, because of the new... it's pronounced Omicron variant. I've heard conflicting reports about how bad it is, so this is... If you're watching this in the future, this is still early stages of it having been heard about, so... Fair warning. But, what I'm touching on is... creating media, whether it be, you know, reviews of video games, or something totally original that you just spark from your mind's eye. Sydney, it's been a bit. Welcome aboard. Snivy as well, thank you so much. But content creation is sieved through your own mind. You take input from around you, whether it be very direct input, like making a review of the game itself is the input that you take, or it be like you write a story based on experience you had, or a fiction piece that you take inspiration from the world from. You filter it through your own mind, and you output something original. The problem of having been in lockdown, or just, you know, self-quarantine, stay at home, or just general pandemic, doesn't matter how you phrase it for this, for around 2 years now, is it's hard to get new input when you are inherently having a lot of the same output towards you recycled. Like, a little while back, this was about a couple months ago at this point, we had a friend come and visit. Everyone was fully vaccinated, and we just went out and hung out around town for a while. We didn't go to any restaurants or anything. We just were wearing masks, taking a walk in the city, and just chilling and spending time together. We got donuts. We ate donuts in a park. It was great. Amras, thank you very much. Popping in quickly before dinner. No worries. 11 months is almost 2 years. Well done. But even just that so nothing act of just hanging out with friends, walking around, I realized how long it had been since I had been able to do anything like that. And it made me also realize that a lot of, I think, the burnout I had been feeling as a creator is probably in response to the only input I had been getting as a creator for a long time was input meant to be converted as opposed to input meant to just exist. What I mean by that is, if you're just stuck at home playing video games and you make a living playing video games, everything you do eventually feels like work. And it's hard to create any new opinions about something when your only baseline for your existence is that thing. I could boil that down to, you know, that meme of person who's only seen Boss Baby watching the second movie and getting a lot of Boss Baby vibes from it. When you're only playing video games and that's all you're doing, it starts to blend what makes good games and bad games together to just, I don't know, it's games. Eventually, it starts being difficult to create new input because you don't have anything to contrast it with. That whole touch grass idea of going out and doing something else. Obviously, it's a meme, but there's truth behind it. The idea of you need to do things that are outside of your creative bounds, not just because you get new input from it. You get new ideas from it, even indirectly. But because you can come at the work that you do with a fresh mind, with a mind wiped clean of only reviewing video games for a living, to continue that example, you can get new perspective on what you're trying to do. So, I think a lot of people's opinions about things have been either extraordinarily numbed or extremely amplified by quarantine. So people will have much heavier feelings. I appreciate that, Sydney. People have much heavier feelings about otherwise benign problems or nothing issues in media. Fair enough, Sydney. Use your time how you can best feel you can use it. But the point I'm trying to make is, if you are watching this and you're a creative person, you're an artist or a writer, video producer, or even if you just, you know, in your spare time do any of that for fun, whatever it may be, it is really hard to make anything that feels fresh when all of your input is stale. You get where I'm coming from. When you're busy modeling something, even taking a 15-minute break to get fresh air can do wonders. I think there is a lot worth complaining about in the Cowboy Bebop adaptation. I don't think it's nearly as bad as people are making it out to be. Is there some weirdly racist things in it? Oh yeah, baby, absolutely. Did they do Ed dirty? Pretty bad, yeah. Is it destroying the integrity of the series? No, fuck off. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. When you play something, you will complain about a nothing thing. Yeah, people feel that. Like, if you liked it, that's chill. That's good. Those were my opinions on it. But, I liked the aesthetic of the intro and like the Lost episode a lot more than most people did. But I can't really be bothered to watch the series, especially because I already canceled my Netflix because of all the David Chappelle things. Oh Jesus, that's a whole thing in its own right. What has made me realize all of this? I think I've had this realization in the past of, like, when all of your input is stale, it's really hard to make anything fresh, is recently, especially since getting the booster, I've been more willing to go out and do things. Not things that put anybody else at risk, obviously, but, like, going for walks, going to visit friends and family who are also vaccinated, spending time outdoors, it's... And the more I do that, the more I realize how little I had been doing it. And the more I realized, in my particular case, the thing I noticed is I'm currently 150,000 words into writing this game. And everything that I'm writing is based off of my past history or things that have happened to my friends. Like, I don't know another way to write but taking things I've seen in the world, things that have happened to me, and using it as inspiration. That's the only way I know how to write. I can't just, like, make up things whole cloth. There has to be some kind of basis for it. And when I started to feel like I was getting writer's block, I think what was actually happening is I was running out of things that I could write about that made sense to write about in this setting because I wasn't getting any new input. Like, I could write a game about being stuck at home and making videos that don't get a ton of views for a living. No one would want to read that, but I could. But, I needed to take more inspiration, so I dug deeper into my past of more inspiration for the game. And eventually either there are things that are too sensitive or things that just don't make enough sense to put into this game. And I realized I had run out of my reserves of previously unused input. And I needed something new. I needed anything new. So, this is me hoping to find something new. Inspiration for creation is based off of the merit of what you don't do. That, if that makes any sense. Like, especially in the case of writing fiction. Fiction is creating scenarios based off of realities that did not happen with the structure of what did. Your understanding of the world and thus your understanding of what isn't in the world is what allows fiction to be created. And when your understanding of the world it becomes entirely the four walls of your room and Twitter, then your perception of what cannot happen, it sounds like it would become more expansive, but you lack that baseline. You lack that structure to build off of. So, that was the part I wanted to tell to creators. Now this is the part I want to tell to people who are not creators. People who either don't feel like they can or don't want to make anything online, which is 100% not just fine, but also I'm kind of jealous. To people who are seeing, like, dipping quality in media from people that you admire, or are getting frustrated at seeing less and less stuff coming out, I need you to remember that it is extremely difficult to make anything right now. Not just from the practical perspective of, if you're filming a TV show that needs a large crew, good luck. It would be it would be extremely difficult right now. If you've seen some of the behind-the-scenes pics from, like, the creation of Squid Game, for instance, it is really difficult to get the amount of people required to make something like that work who are, like, ready to go, safe, vaccinated, social distancing. And on a smaller scale, like I said, people are just lacking input to make anything new or interesting. Try not to be too frustrated. I know it's difficult, but try not to be too frustrated at the inevitably dipping quality of the ongoing series and things you enjoy from creators. The inevitable delays. It's hard. It is hard to make things right now, and this is I mean, this is talking from a fucking platform of privilege, obviously. But, like, there are so many much harder jobs to do right now, obviously. But just because something is easier, relatively speaking, making content creation is easier than, or being a content creator is easier than, say, being a first responder, being an ambulance worker. But what I'm trying to say is, it's never been easy to make media, and it's even more difficult now, so please be patient with people. Doesn't help that people misinterpret your work. Good Christ, absolutely they will. Hey, speedrunner. Not making a lot. If I'm not making a lot, like, A, I'm worn out and not wanting to make this a job, more of a hobby, and B, you're probably drawing not safe for work on another. Fair enough. Mood. I've drawn so much not safe for work stuff recently for the game, but that's neither here nor there. Play Halo, it is a good game. It is a good game. I can't just play games. I don't have time to play games. I am working so fucking hard and fast to make this game happen with so little fuel to do that with. I have written so much, I have drawn so much, I have coded so much, and I want this game to come out early next year. I'm hoping I can make it happen early next year. No promises. Deep Rock has stolen your free time. Mood. I had to cancel Game Pass because I couldn't afford to I couldn't justify the cost of what, $15 a month for something that I was using maybe once a month. I don't have time to play games. There are games. Take your time to make sure it's quality. See, I appreciate that sentiment, but that's the second half of it. There's the balance of I also need to make money to survive. I need rent. I need to make rent, and I need to make things that I can sell that people will buy, and I need to do it quickly before I go destitute. And for mid 2022, I'll see what I can do. I'm trying. It's hard to sit there and try to relax while knowing that there's like, have you all ever seen that, you know Brian David Gilbert, who used to work at Polygon, has a pretty good YouTube channel? He posted the video of the application cover video that he sent into Polygon, and he had this joke in it where he had a countdown clock in his office that was days until he runs out of money and he goes destitute. And it's like that's constantly ticking in the back of my head, that clock of like, it's okay to relax in bits, but you need to be sure that you do enough work to get this out in a reasonable amount of time or you're gonna go broke. Low effort content. The problem with doing low effort content, I've discovered this myself, is it shapes how people perceive all of your content. And I don't think that's a bad thing, it just is a thing. It's just how people work. Even if you make it super clear, like this is just filler content, something to tide you all over, people will still see it as lazy. And it's difficult to not agree with them. This isn't me trying to be like, I'm suffering for my art or whatever, that's bullshit. This is me saying that it is, you got cut creators some slack. It's hard. We are so deep into pandemic bullshit. The planet is on fucking fire. America is getting to be a worse and worse and worse country to live in if you aren't a straight white man. I don't want to sound preachy, but it's true. Like, it has always been bad, and it's continuing to get bad in new and different ways. And yeah, exactly, Sydney. We're just here trying to write our stories. I honestly think that what I'm writing is good. I think it's good. And the beauty of working on a project by myself like this is that if I do hit writer's block, actual writer's block, not just like I'm out of fuel and I need to go do something in order to recharge. Actual writer's block. I can go and either code or draw instead. I can work on other aspects of the project. Where were you when COVID started? I had just come back home. I got out just ahead of it. I went to visit my family back in Maine, and I had just flown back to Missouri. That was late December, early January. So COVID wasn't in the US yet, but it was definitely starting to spread around the world. Yeah, I talked about NFTs so much last time, all that bullshit, so I'm not going to retread the same ground. The main takeaway I want from this conversation, the main thing I want people to remember after this is whether it is someone else's stuff that you watch, or it is your own content that you're making. Cut it some slack. It's going to be bad, and there are people who still think like, hey, come on, we've had 2 years to kind of get used to this. Surely there's like a new normal. I hate that phrase so much, new normal. But it's still hard, just mentally, not even just physically. It is hard mentally to make things when everything is so bad. You're at a resort when all the shit started happening. Oof. I'm thinking about all the people who were on like cruise ships. And I'm terrified of cruise ships, the concept of them. Never. Absolutely never. Never, never, never. Ah. Whew. I'm worried. The balance between doomerism and just trying to be realistic, I'm worried that there isn't going to be an end of COVID because, not just because of people who refuse to get vaccinated, but because of vaccines being hoarded by select countries, I will say. I was gonna sign USA, but I don't remember the sign language for you. But select countries like America hoarding vaccines and not distributing them out, hoarding vaccines for the population, for a lot of people who refuse to take them. And I'm worried that the human error through both stupidity and just circumstance is going to stop there from being an end of COVID. It's just going to be a thing that, it's going to be humanity plus COVID. It's going to be a thing that keeps existing and people get used to, like, yeah, you just have to be careful because there is also a virus out there that keeps mutating. We keep trying to stay one step ahead of it. But it shouldn't have to be like that. It affects me on the side of dealing with guests who don't want to wear masks and keep trying to take them off during our oh, Jesus. Like, it is... Luna, welcome aboard. It is functionally possible to stop the virus altogether. It is possible to do that. It has been done with other viruses in the past. If enough people get the vaccine that the virus can no longer spread, then the virus dies out, and then that's it. But not only are there people who refuse to get it, there are countries who refuse to give out vaccines to other countries with people who would happily take the vaccine. Yeah, of course, when you say something like that, then you get the people who are like, it's not as bad as the flu, agreeing with you, which is an issue. It's difficult to have that discussion. I shouldn't go to Vegas in the first place. Oh man. There, I would get so easily addicted to gambling. Oh my god. Double mask anytime you go outside the properties of your home. Yeah, I always mask up wherever I'm going because I have a compromised immune system. Got Crohn's, baby. You get your booster as soon as you can? Hell yeah. The booster kicked my ass, by the way, so fair warning when you get the booster. If you can, schedule it for when you have time off work, maybe just before the holidays. Although, I don't know if you want to spend the holidays suffering, but, you know, whatever. But, like, the booster kicked my ass for, like, 2 days, so just keep that in mind. That is not me saying don't get the booster. Obviously, that's not me saying that. That is me saying plan around when you do get the booster. And the longer you tell people that they have to stay inside, the more people, no more that people, the more people will get fed up with it. And I want to say I can't blame them, but I also want to say that the alternative being letting a deadly virus continue to spread should be sufficient enough for you to fucking put up with it. Working at a library is an interesting way to see a lot of different kinds of people. You see a lot of drug users, you see a lot of homeless people, you see a lot of people who are just down on their luck. And the biggest thing that I learned, a trigger warning for shots? I mean, there are people who are scared of needles, but whatever. The point being, what was I trying to say? Libraries. I learned when I was working in a library that most people are kind. Most people are kind, just limited by situation. And seeing the people who choose to not be kind ruin things for everybody else is disheartening in ways I can't describe. There are a lot of people who cannot functionally stay home. There are a lot of jobs that cannot be done from home. Like, a lot of physical labor jobs, working in a hospital, like, when I say food service, in this case, I mean, like, meat packing, that kind of industry. But, it is people who had the choice to stay at home, and then chose to go out, and then not only chose to go out, but also chose to go out unmasked. And also the people who definitely made a point of that, who helped to ruin it for everybody else. But I think the reality is far darker and grimmer, and the reality is there are people who just don't care. It's not that they are protesting because they want to maintain their freedom. They just genuinely don't give a shit if the virus spreads. Like, they don't care one way or the other. And this is why I don't like describing myself as a doomer. Because there are people who take that idea so literally of whatever happens, happens. Like, complete nihilism. And I wouldn't even say it's causing harm to themselves. I'm gonna be delicate with what I say here, but if they wanted to cause harm to themselves, there are much easier ways to do that. But it is just not giving a shit. It is genuine apathy to the idea of stopping the spread of the virus, either from disbelief of the idea that it could happen, or from just a complete lack of care to the idea of it. Yeah, the people who say, like, if the virus takes me, the virus takes me. Like, no, that's not the point. It is people like you are one of the many reasons why this continues to exist. Yeah, again, you have the people who are doing, like, protest bullshit of, like, going out on purpose and coughing on people intentionally. I don't think that happens quite as much anymore, but early on that was an issue. But there are people who are just apathetic to the idea altogether. There are certain businesses that have to continue existing, like pharmacies, drugstores. They have to continue operating. They, without having, like, a structure in place. Do I have water with me? Who drinks water these days? When you have a structure in place of people relying on them for medication and for, like, essential services. Fine, I'll drink water. I have water. Better? I have trouble staying hydrated in general. It doesn't matter how much water I drink. I have to drink Pedialytes or Gatorade to stay hydrated. It's just another issue with Crohn's disease. My body doesn't process, well, really anything correctly. What was my point of this rant about people's apathy? I think more people are kind than aren't. I honestly do. The country's having a vaccine mandate for everyone, for everywhere except supermarkets and doctors' offices. Yeah, again, that's the main thing, is there are places that people, like, regardless of how one may feel about the subject, people have to go. Those vocal minorities sure are vocal. And it just takes one person who refuses to cooperate, who can spread the virus to people who can't, like, I wanted to say can't cooperate. What I mean by that is there are people who are so immunocompromised that they can't get the vaccine, or are so, or in a part of the world where the vaccine is not available, but they still have to continue to live their life, obviously. And those people, I'm sure if they could, would absolutely get the vax, but a lot of them don't have a choice in the matter, which is why it's so frustrating to see people who absolutely could and are in a position where it would take them less than an hour to go to a fucking CVS and get the vaccine and choose not to. I'm nihilistic. I won't pretend I'm not nihilistic. I am a bit of a doomer, but I still like to think I do what I can. Like, I firmly believe that the foundation of the Electoral College in the United States means that my individual vote for president is fucking meaningless because I live in a red state. So it doesn't matter who I vote for president because my state is basically already predetermined for who they're going to vote for because the Electoral College exists. I still vote anyways because What? I might as well. I'm living here, I might as well try to do what I fucking can. I broke into a construction site recently. There's a construction site not far from me that I broke into to take pictures of for my game, because I needed photos of like a rundown building, and I don't want to use stock photos in this game where I can. So I at night I hopped the fence into the construction site and just went around, took a bunch of pictures, and took them home and edited them. I might go back again. They've advanced a lot, and I get new pictures. I didn't like touch anything. I didn't damage anything. I just needed pics. I already had an excuse lined up too. If someone caught me, was that I was working for the local newspaper. I know the name of the local newspaper. I just don't want to say it to dox myself. I didn't have I do not have the physical strength to carry power tools out of a construction site. Yeah, that in theory is what's important, Amros. Like, it's... Will that work now that you said on the internet? Who cares? This is all... hey, if anyone sees this, this is a joke. This was all a joke. All of this was a joke. I was joking about all of this now. Also, it's extremely disproportional, the Electoral College. For legal reasons, I am joking. I was playing Pathfinder yesterday, and we had this whole plan to break into a theater to put on our own one-man show on stage, and the ticket clerk overheard the entire thing, and character said, "Oh no, don't worry, we're just joking," and then I rolled a nat 20 deception check. Alright, that has nothing to do with anything. Pathfinder stories aren't what you're here for. What you're here for is to hear me rant about doomerism. Yeah, like, people are people, and what the majority of people want should be how it's determined. You're never going to make everybody happy. The goal is to make the most people and the disproportionately unheard people happy. No, doomerism. Doomerism. No, I'm a cusper. I'm not a zoomer. I'm a little too old to be a zoomer, and I grew up too poor to be a zoomer. That's not saying all Zoomers are rich, but that is me saying if you grew up in the early thousands poor, you basically grew up in the 90s. So I'm not quite a millennial, but I'm not quite a Zoomer. So I am a cusper. I'm a doomer, I'm a Zoomer, I'm a saint, I'm a sinner. Fuck, man. You haven't heard cusper before? It's not a real label. It's just a shorthand people use. If I had to actually label myself, I would be a millennial. Like, right on the tail end. Millennial. Because I'm definitely not a Zoomer. I have not once even considered installing TikTok. That is not me disparaging TikTok or the people who use it. That is me saying that I have firmly decided that TikTok is beyond me. I am good. I do not need it. Stan, thank you for stopping by. Take care. I was born 97. Like, it's not... It's not... It doesn't matter. None of this actually matters. But if I had to describe myself, I'd say I'm a millennial. 97, old person. I know my history for the most part. Yeah, Amros. It's America continues to be one of the most willingly and insidiously vile countries on Earth. Ooh, maybe that's a hot take. Hope it isn't. TikTok is worse. Keyboard, I don't know what that is, but TikTok is fine. It's fine. There are problems with the structure of it that exist as problems of all of social media. I think just with TikTok, the speed that TikTok happens makes those problems more immediately obvious. But there's nothing wrong with the social media. It's fine. I think if there is anything worth pointing to that's wrong, it is children growing up entirely relying on social media, and any structure that may have been put in place to help kids who to experience more things in general beyond social media has been effectively destroyed by COVID. So I don't blame kids for growing up on social media. What choice do they fucking have? Unfortunately, that just means TikTok's algorithm is functional. That it is doing exactly what it's intended to do, and that is in and of itself terrifying. That friend who came by the other day, this friend is older than I am, and he was on TikTok. And I could not sit there and watch this 26-some-odd-year-old man browse TikTok without thinking, did I miss something? And I realized, no, it's just everyone's different. That's fine. Although, I like everything in moderation. If you're spending all day on TikTok, that's a problem. But it's also a problem if you're spending all day on Twitter or all day on Facebook. Unless it is part of your career, like it is for me, and so many people who are trapped in the hell of needing a central social media platform to corroborate all of their content. Why am I seeing so many trans people in my timeline? Says supposedly cis person. Growing up on social media isn't inherently bad as long as you have a support system to make sure you don't form any dangerous parasocial relationships. The problem is that social media inherently wants you to form those. Social media is designed for you to form parasocial relationships. Before people even knew what that term meant, before I think even the people who made the algorithms the way they did knew what they were doing. What they wanted was for people to stay on the platform, and the easiest way to get people to stay on the platform is to get them vested in the lives of people who are posting content, not in the content itself. So as a result, people are inherently, like, told through the actions of the platform to get more attached to these people rather than just appreciate the content by itself. Yeah, Reddit's got its own other set of issues. Reddit is this whole thing. I used to use Reddit all the time. I quit Reddit in 2018, I think. And I, for like 2 months after I deleted my account, unbookmarked Reddit, removed the app from my phone, I would instinctively click like where Reddit used to be on my bookmarks tab, tap where it used to be on my phone, just when I was idly like chilling, and realize, oh wait, no, what am I doing? Every sub is so aggressively different from one another. It's difficult when Reddit encourages you to branch out from other subs, however. Yeah, that's how I feel about Twitter, SFM. That's how I feel about Twitter as well. Wow, I can follow a celebrity. See, okay, this is going to get... I am not going to talk about 18+ topics, but I am going to be talking about an 18 plus platform, so fair warning. I'm not going to get specific about it, but I just want to get that out ahead of what I'm going to say. That is something that I'm uncomfortable with OnlyFans as a platform. They have this feature where you can have like direct messages that people can pay for to a creator, and the idea is that you have like a sort of sliding into their DMs sort of experience. And I think if that's what people want to do, if that's what a creator wants to do, that's fine. It's a service that's existed as long as the fucking telephone has existed. But it is weird to be like encouraged to use that as someone who doesn't want it to be that personal. Like, I'm sure I could make more money doing that, but also that is not where I want the priority of my platform to be. This is gonna be weird to talk about, fair warning. This is not safe for work anymore. I saw someone on Twitter. Okay, backing it up further. I used to listen to McElroy content. Ooh, frame rate down? Is it just me? Or, huh. Well, hopefully it calms down. Drago, welcome aboard. But, I used to listen to McElroy content. And I don't anymore. If you do, that's totally fine. But I just have other shit that I'm doing. And looks fine now. Cool. I just have other shit that I'm doing, other shit that I'm listening to. I don't really give a shit about My Brother and Me or Adventure Zone anymore. But I saw someone on Twitter mention something about Justin McElroy talking about mukbang, the YouTube like trend of eating food with people, and I want to make sure that I'm spelling this correctly. Yes, it is an Anglicization of a Korean word. And the thing that happened was they briefly mentioned on the show, they're podcasters, entertainers, the McElroy brothers, but they briefly mentioned on the show the idea of mukbang, making a joke about it, and then Justin said something that was kind of racist without realizing it, and then apologized for it, saying that the word was gross, not realizing it's a Korean word that he was referring to. And I didn't know about any of this, so I looked it up out of curiosity. And this led me to an entire subreddit dedicated to complaining about the McElroy brothers. And I, out of sheer curiosity, looked through some of the posts. And a lot of what it was just people having genuine discussion about, like, creators that they enjoy getting worse over time. But some of it was just people saying, like, they've lost their touch, making memes, whatever. People are gonna do that, that's fine. But that's what got me thinking in the first place about how much harder it is to be a content creator. This was a while back. He apologized for it. It's a whole thing. He said mukbang was a gross word without realizing it's a Korean word. You can look it up if you want. But anyways, the point being that it got me thinking about people expecting creators to continuously get better and better in a time when it is functionally extremely difficult to do so. But it also got me thinking of the balance between trying to improve as a creator versus trying to improve or just continue to be a good person, and how so many people have made those out to be one-to-one. As if, like, both if someone is a good enough creator, it doesn't matter how good of a person they are, which I think is bullshit, or if someone is a really good person, it means that their content can be trash and they're fine, which I think there's some room to discuss there. I would say that being kind is not a competition. Being someone who isn't problematic should be your default, and if you make a genuine mistake, it's something you should own up to, and if you're actually just some kind of gross monster, I don't want anything to do with you. But I think people need to stop equating the quality of content with the quality of character, because that's when you get people who are willing to defend, like, fucking Dave Chappelle because they like the Chappelle Show, but you also get people saying that because someone's quality is faltering, they are also faltering as a human. That's not me talking about Justin McElroy specifically. I think that was a bullshit thing that he said. But in general, I've seen people associate quality of content with quality of character, and I think that is bad for a lot of reasons. This is not me saying you need to separate art from the artist. That is, I think, situational at best. Like people saying, like, I still read Harry Potter, but I just don't support J.K. Rowling. But at a certain point, they're so entwined that you have to make the decision. But because somebody's content is getting worse in your eyes doesn't mean that they're getting worse as a person. And because someone's content is getting better doesn't mean they're a better person. And when you form a parasocial relationship with a creator, following them because you like them as a creator rather than their content, that is, it over time will insidiously get into your brain as you associate who they are with what they make, and then cannot separate the two. And that goes in both directions. We were trying to get into Chappelle's Show like a week before that thing happened. I'll fully admit that I watched and enjoyed Chappelle's Show long before all of that happened. And then all of that happened. I want people to understand that good content doesn't mean a good person, bad content doesn't mean a bad person. And view everything through the perspective of people being human beings. I am begging you. Separation is very situational indeed. Yeah, exactly. Like, I kind of felt that way about JonTron when everything happened, where like certain jokes that he made in his videos, I'd look back and go like, ooh, now that I know that he's racist, this is, like, I am fully disconnected. I could not be more disconnected from Minecraft YouTube community. Like, I grew up watching, I don't think they exist anymore, or if they do, it's a totally different form, but Mindcrack YouTubers. I grew up watching Etho, and, Kurt J. Mac, and, some other people's whose name I forget, Seth something or other. Some of them are still around. I think Etho's still like chugging along. I think Kurt J. Mac is still doing Farlands or Bust. But yeah, I'll get to that in a second, Apocalyptic, because I agree. But I cannot fathom the fandom that is built around Minecraft creators. Like, I have opinions about stuff like K-pop fandom, but K-pop fandom is designed, idol fandom is designed to be parasocial. I don't think that's a good thing, but it is objectively the thing that it is. It is built from the ground up with the idea that you are going to follow the lives that are presented to you of these people. It is foundational to it. So if you're getting into the fandom, you understand that getting in. And I, generally speaking, idols also understand that when they're getting into becoming idols. Like, this is how this works. But with being a YouTuber, there is this like layer of anonymity that was assumed that is no longer assumed, that I think is kind of gross. And the Minecraft YouTube fandom has found a way to take that layer of anonymity and turn it into fucking religion. And that is terrifying. I watched Yogscast as a kid too, yeah. Like, I blame the creator and the consumers there. Like, they've taken Dream's idea of anonymity and turned it into fable, turned it into gospel. And they have taken the thing that is supposed to prevent parasocial relationships from being formed and turned it into something far creepier. And that is terrifying. Oh yeah, the whole speedrun thing. Okay, that was objectively funny. What everything that happened, hiring a fucking mathematician. Oh my god. Holy shit. Yeah, I watched a bunch of Swedish Minecraft YouTubers as well. Vintage Beef, was he Swedish? I'm just remembering all these names now, Jesus. But the reason I mentioned K-pop is because my sister has gotten really into K-pop. But again, that is like the idea of getting involved with this person's life as a metric to get involved with their content exists as structured media. And it has for a while, and it does even stronger and more directly now in things like idol culture. But content creation, I feel like, should maintain that level of separation if that's what the creator wants. And even in doing so, it becomes parasocial, and that's terrifying. It's fine. It's fine. She, like, knows what she's getting into. It's fine. Like, I would get into K-pop if it weren't for the fact that every K-pop music video is seizure-inducing. Like, without fail, everyone I've tried to watch has been. And I cannot get into the fandom because of that. I have fucking posters of, like, hot men on my walls. I have figurines of hot men. Of course I'm gonna get into things like Stray Kids. But anyways, all of this was to say, please separate the idea of what a creator is from the idea of their creation. That doesn't mean separate art from artist. It means do not associate the quality of content with the quality of character. If there's one person who is such a good example of this, it's Keanu Reeves. Because as far as we know, asterisk, Keanu Reeves is a good person. As far as we're aware. He is a terrible actor. I love his action. I love him and John Wick. I love seeing him physically act. Whenever he opens his mouth, he says the dumbest shit I've ever seen on screen. But he is a good dude as far as we know, and that is why you shouldn't separate quality, or you should judge differently quality of content with quality of character, because I could judge Keanu Reeves to be a good person as far as we know, while still being a terrible actor. Yeah, go watch the original Point Break and come away telling me that Keanu Reeves can act. You like hot men? Let's see those posters. I retweeted the artist who I get most of my like super cute stuff from, who I have like the Vampire Boys canvas from. Who I bought a Kurapika print from recently. They're having a sale right now. I'll actually link them. Totoro's. Here we are. They're having a sale. Go get yourself some cute posters of either just like cool characters or of hot men. I got the Kurapika print. Oh, Bill and Ted is fun, but like it doesn't matter that Keanu Reeves can't act for shit in that movie. It's just fun. I've never seen Toy Story. I've never seen any Toy Story anything. Alright, I am going to head off now. We've been streaming for about an hour, and I've ranted enough at you about my frustration with how media is perceived. So, cut some slack to creators. Judge creators not for their creation, but for... Wait, no, hang on. Like, judge their creators based on their creation if you want to, but don't let that be the main metric you use to judge who they are. Because otherwise you may end up really respecting someone who's a piece of shit, or hating someone for no reason other than you don't like their work. Is that Pikmin music? Yeah! Remember those Pikmin streams? Those were fun. Maybe I'll stream Pikmin 2 at some point for the 8 people who show up for them. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope everyone is doing the best they can. Go buy yourself some prints of hot men. I'm going to go... I don't know, have a can of ravioli, maybe? I don't have a ton of money right now. Take it easy, everyone. I said the word parasocial so much at this point that I feel like I'm gonna become Twitter's main character.